Hi, this is Hank reporting from Kyiv, and this is my update on Russian-Ukrainian war. Let's see what happened around Ukraine in the last 24 hours. Russian surprise for Trump. Large drone warehouse destroyed. Orban visits Ukraine. A man with a huge heart. Putin's palace air defense revealed. New Ukrainian monster drone. 38 bombs didn't reach the front. Dnipro attacked. Okay. Everyone is now excited about the debates of the United States presidential candidates, and I won't even say anything about it. Many smart people have already spoken, but I want to draw attention to one important point, perhaps the main one for Ukraine. Donald Trump has said many times that he will end this war in one day. Most experts believe that he will simply agree that Putin will take back everything they have occupied at the moment. It is certainly strange to me that the president of a third country that signed a security agreement in Budapest is going to somehow give away something that doesn't belong to him to a second country that signed a security agreement in Budapest when two shared our nuclear weapons. To me, it looks like a robbery followed by rape. Yes, I'll say it again, it's our own fault for giving our weapons to the good guys. Conclusion: never give up your weapons, don't repeat our mistakes. There is a possibility that Trump will not like such a reaction from Putin, who still believes in his greatness and strengths. And how does a possible American president even imagine agreements with a partner of North Korea? I can imagine how peace with the current ideological enemy and the historical rival from the Cold War who openly threatens you could be beneficial to America more than Trump himself, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask. If he only knew how tired I am of dealing with this senile insanity. I have been living in a state of turbulence for 2.5 years, and now this feeling has intensified even more. At such moments I want us to have no partners at all and simply be able to rely on our own strengths, so that we at least have an understanding what to expect in the near future. According to various sources, in this photo we see confirmation of the destruction of a Russian warehouse with stock of Iranian-made Shahed drones on the territory of occupied Crimea, with which they have been diligently attacking Ukraine for several years. I remember the first attacks on the center of Kyiv when no one understood what it was. These drones flew into residential buildings and business centers, and the police shot them down with small arms because we simply didn't have mobile air defense teams with pickup trucks. Now we have adapted and shoot down more than 80% of these drones, but they still pose a big threat because there are usually many of them. As stated in the news, about 90 units were destroyed, and judging by the fact that over the past week there were no mass raids by these drones, this confirmation may be quite accurate. The price that Russia pays for one Shahed drone to Iran varies from $193,000 to $375,000 depending on the size of the current batch. So 90 drones value at least $70 million, and that's a pretty good catch. Another unexpected turn of events in Ukraine's relations with the world. Yesterday, Viktor Orban arrived in Kyiv. He came here for the first time since 2012. I have a question. He came like who? Like the Prime Minister of Hungary, who treated Ukraine very strangely after Russia attacked us, or as a representative of the country that dominates the EU committee for the next 6 months, or as a friend of Putin who brought a message? I love the ordinary people of Hungary who accepted our refugees and helped us in humanitarian terms. I was in Hungary 3 times and I liked it there. I feel that these people are pretty close to us in mentality. I do not like Viktor Orban and representatives of his government who regularly makes hostile statements and often openly broadcasts Putin's narratives. Of course, I have no right to blame people for supporting their allies, but now we are just on different sides. You have the right to say whatever you want, but I do not accept an offer from a third country to give up my home because Russia has just occupied it and wants to take it for itself. For such people, I only have undiplomatic expressions. What's good and what's bad in this event? The bad. He brought Putin's wishes. Of course, he won't say it openly, but everyone understands his motives and his benefits. It's normal, but it's bad for us. The fact that the head of a country of a European Union and NATO member is playing against his both teams is very bad. Of course, the EU understands this. We'll see how they react. Bad number 2. He decided to advise a country that is defending itself and bleeding to stop defending itself and bleed to the end. This is not normal and very bad from any point of view: morality, politics, history, common sense. Why didn't Orban hold a press conference in Moscow and openly ask Putin to remove his troops from our territory so that the blood would stop flowing and so that our families could return home from Hungary to Ukraine? A decade will pass after this war and thousands of books will be written about how it happened. I'm sure that in any case no one will say anything good about Viktor Orban's behavior. The good. The fact that official Hungary has taken a step towards Ukraine is good in global sense. Let this be the first step, testing waters. We are neighbors and we need to interact in any case. In 10, 20, 100 years we will be neighbors. Trading is better than fighting, and most of what he said was shown in a pretty positive light. Let it be. The good number 2. It seems Zelensky has made it clear to Orban that his plan will not work. If you remember Zelensky's first visit to a meeting of the heads of the European Union, Orban actively ignored him, avoided meeting in the main hall, and showed him all his appearance how unpleasant he was with a person who asks his neighbors for help. I don't agree with every Zelensky's decision. He did some things frankly badly, but now survival is important and we don't have time for internal disagreements. We need to win the war and then restore order within the country. It's a long process. The fact that Zelensky showed character earns my respect. I have been following his activities only since the beginning of a full-scale war. Before that, I was not interested in politics at all. I like the fact that our president is consistent. I didn't notice that he would often change his point of view or said one thing and then did totally opposite. Tell me if I missed something. I understand what he says and it suits me now. Therefore, it's good that Orban understood his clear position and delicately suggested, quote, "I ask Mr. President to think about those things that can be done a little differently, take a break, ceasefire." He said, "This is 100% in Putin's favor, no one else, not EU, not NATO, not Ukraine, not even Hungary. This is also a test of the water and he realized that there was no chance for him here." Thank you for coming and we continue. With a heavy heart, I want to say that a combat medic, a citizen of South Africa and Great Britain, one of the founders of the charitable foundation Project Konstantin, Peter Fouche, was killed at the front. This noble man saved the lives of about 200 soldiers by evacuating them from the battlefield. I believe we should erect a monument to him and the many others who sacrificed their lives to defend freedom. This brave man came to Ukraine at the very beginning of a full-scale war in March 2022 to help, and this year he joined the ranks of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Earlier, Tatiana Miller, co-founder of the Project Konstantin Foundation, also died here in a car crash not far from the front lines. In this photo, they are smiling happily in the center. This is very sad news and I'm so sorry and I'm grateful for your service. I don't ask for money on this channel. Those who want to support me may find links to donations themselves in the description, but now I'll ask you to support the Project Konstantin Fund if you have the opportunity. The link will be under the video. I will also leave links to the interview with Peter in English and Afrikaans. Rest easy, hero. My favorite team of secret agents, Atish, published a video of the Pantsir S-1 air defense system which protects Putin's palace in Sochi in the south. Let me remind you that in this place, Putin built himself a real palace with an area of 17,700 square meters. According to official information, this is the largest private residence in all of Russia. The boy grew up from a communal apartment in St. Petersburg, decided to show the whole country that now he doesn't have to share a room of 20 square meters in which he lives with his parents, but the largest house in which you can ride a motorcycle. Indeed, children's complexes control us over the rest of our lives if we do not curb them. This map showed the location of this air defense system. Russians really have quite good systems, but we have already seen how well they burn. In the morning statistics of our general staff, I see that we have already destroyed at least 876 air defense systems, including 2 over the past day. There will be no conclusion here except that we know where their defense systems are located and we are systematically destroying them. The process is underway. This is the FPV drone of a new design shown by the Terra unit from the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade of Ukrainian Armed Forces. I see a traditional Orban frame here, but instead of 4 propellers, we now have 6. Now, this is not a quadricopter but a hexacopter, and it can carry a load of about 5 kilograms, and this is a very decent charge. If you saw in the video how 2 kilograms explode a tank, then 5 kilograms in TNT equivalent can probably blow an entire house into pieces. Occupants, get ready. The Washington Post created this picture based on an investigation of a secret Russian army documents that they obtained plus OSINT data. On this map, you see the points where Russian bombs fell on the territory of Russia, in particular the Belgorod region bordering Ukraine. The material said that most of these bombs were discovered by civilians, foresters, farmers, or residents of surrounding villages. In most cases, the Russian Ministry of Defense didn't know when the bombs were dropped, suggesting that some of them could have been there for several days. According to the document, at least 4 bombs fell on Belgorod itself, and 7 more were found in the suburbs. Most of all, 11 pieces fell in the Grivoron district. In total, 38 cases of their bombs falling at home were confirmed. This sweet Z lady points to her house destroyed by such Russian air bomb that fell before reaching out our territory. It's so amazing that these people don't really understand cause and effect. Everything seems simple. You attacked your neighbor, hit him, he was hurt. Then the neighbor hit you back and now you are hurt. Who started it and why are you hurting now? Z lady and her relatives have no answer. I saw interviews with Russian prisoners of war. In fact, it's very interesting to study, but I find it unpleasant to watch and I rarely watch it. At the beginning of the video, the Ukrainian interviewer asked whether the Russian military prisoner agrees to have the interview recorded and whether he confirms that he is giving it voluntarily. The Russian agrees. Then, during a calm conversation, he is asked, "Why is Belgorod suffering now?" Because you can just reach it. That is, this man, a military serviceman, has no understanding of the reason. The point is not that Belgorod has now become closer and we decided to shoot at it. Belgorod has always been there, but until February 24, not a single shot was fired towards Belgorod until S-300 missiles started flying from Belgorod to Kharkiv. Russians missed this beginning of the history or simply do not want to admit to themselves that they started the war and they will pay for it in the end. If you put on a Z shirt and rejoice at dead Ukrainian children, then be prepared for the consequences. This video of terrible quality was filmed today in the Ukrainian city of Dnipro. Unfortunately, there are still idiots who film the places where Russian missiles hit and immediately post it on the internet in order to gain some popularity and maybe even help the enemy. I say from the beginning, do not film the place where Russian missiles hit and do not film the movement of our military equipment. This is a matter of state security. But some people don't think with their heads. I hope that they are arrested and punished. It is known that 4 civilians were killed and about 20 were injured. Unfortunately, this is probably the 100th time and no one is surprised by such terrorist attacks. But I still want to remind you that Russian missile terror continues every day. I missed several days, and while writing out the news for this video, I realized that so much is happening in a matter of days and I simply do not have enough time to follow everything. Judging by the dynamics of events, this year will be a turning point and I want to believe that it will be for the better, but as usual, I'm preparing for the worst case scenario. For me, these videos are a way to study current reality and in general to establish my point of view on this world. For many years, I imagined the world in my own way and it seemed to me that adults and leaders of countries had so much experience and understood the essence of things so well, and now I see sometimes such stupid things that happen and it's very strange for me to watch it. Peace, that's the only thing I want to think about right now. How can we win this war? Yesterday I was counting my work statistics and realized that in 180 days I had about 13 days off. I have virtually no social life now and I don't want to have any fun in my free time. Yesterday I sat with a coffee and tried to distract myself from thoughts about war and work. It seemed this war had broken something and I can't even complain about it, because there are people who have it much harder. I just hope that one day we will return the territories and I can go home and sit by the sea. You know how at the end of the movie Knocking on Heaven's Door. This was my update on Russian-Ukrainian war for day 861. Thanks to everyone who is watching. Take care and see you tomorrow.